This is the AdHero Podcast, the podcast that reveals marketing tips, trends, and techniques by industry experts, insiders, and influencers. For years, AdSymble has helped businesses develop and launch campaigns to amplify their message, establish authority, and earn their lion's share of the market. This podcast will help you design and supercharge your plan to make an impact with valuable lessons you can apply in your business today. To get more information or start now, visit adsymbol.com. That's AdSemble.com. Let's get started.
Welcome to the AdHero Podcast. My name is Geno, Giovanni.
And I'm Matthew Olivieri. We are your personal AdHeroes back on the scene. My friend, how you doing tonight?
I'm actually doing really well. How about yourself?
I'm loving this new night recording. See, out here in California, they got this crazy-ass thing that they do where they roll the clock back in the wintertime. Is it roll back, right? Yeah, fall back, spring forward.
It's my favorite time of the year.
And when they do that, it gets darker outside earlier, which makes it kind of fun because when we're in here in the lab cooking up these episodes, we are recording and it's like pitch black outside.
Well, plus, too, you got to account for the clouds because all the fires with the smoke. And so we're just always covered in clouds over here.
We are. Well, we got a good episode on tap this week for our listening audience. Geno, what are we going to be dropping this week?
Well, it's going to be about how to break up with a client.
How to break up with a client? Oh, my goodness. Why are we going to be talking about that today?
We're going to be talking about that today because when you're in sales and you just have that one bad day or maybe several throughout your career, or maybe some people who actually dropped out of sales because of it, the one client that just irked them enough and also made them upset.
I apologize for nothing.
Exactly.
You know, this is a marketing advertising podcast, but in the marketing advertising realm, sales is an inevitable connection to marketing and advertising, right? Because marketing and advertising programs are typically transacted through salespeople who initialize an idea with a company, and then that company decides to move forward with that idea, and that becomes the marketing or advertising program. And so I think it is relevant to bring up this topic because COVID 2020, there's just a lot of people are on edge. And so I think there could be a lot of people out there who may be experiencing in that sales process, you know, some kind of tense conversations, some tense negotiations, some tense things happening. I have a personal story to share with all of you about that, and that was kind of like the driving force of why Geno and I here decided to come into the lab and cook up this episode tonight. But I don't think my story is unique. I think there's a lot of people out there in sales who could probably relate to my story. And so, anyways, the bottom line is: when is enough? When is it enough? When is too much enough? Right? When do you finally just pull the plug and go, you know what? I'm firing you, Mr. Client. I'm not going to take this abuse anymore. I'm not going to take this attitude from you because you think you have like this ownership over me just because you agreed to, you know, pay for our services and stuff like that. I believe there is a line in the sand, and if that line gets crossed, you have to divorce the client and move on to greener pastures. So we're going to get into all that tonight, but before we do, we got some A-block banter. What do we got dropping in the A-block section?
Well, we're going to be talking about movies. We're going to be talking about movie theaters, and we're also going to be talking about video games. So to start things off, you know, we are always talking about movies here at AdSymble, and we, especially on the AdHero Podcast, are talking about theaters that are open and if we're going or not, and which ones are open, and what are they doing to bring in business. Oh, yeah. So, like, I typically keep my ear to the ground and the eyes on YouTube to see that, you know, a lot of theaters are open. AMC, for example, like we've been talking about for weeks, has been open. I know Regal Theaters like closed down for the rest of the year, but there's other chains that are still open as well, and they're bringing in people with like, you know, kind of like having their same things, you know, like the food, the alcohol and all that, but they're also having older movies. Yeah, like Empire Strikes Back. I think I've seen like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, or I don't know. There's like a lot of different types of movies that have been in these theaters. That some of them you might want to actually go to experience that Adobe like vision and sound to get a full experience. The way movies have been made.
Yeah, I can attest to this. This last weekend, I went to my local AMC movie theater out here where I live. And lo and behold, if I wanted to, I could have gone and seen Gremlins on the big screen.
Hey, it's a Christmas movie.
Gremlins is that considered a Christmas movie?
Yeah.
I did not go see Gremlins because I've seen Gremlins before. But to Geno's point, to your point, Geno, I think that it's an interesting concept. Okay, look, the bottom line is, in the industry is hurting. We've been documenting this. We've been talking about it. We actually referenced this on our Christmas episode. If you didn't catch that, go back and listen. It's a great episode. But the bottom line is all the big productions have been pushed off to 2021. Is that correct?
Correct.
And I don't even know if the movie theater business chains maybe even expected that they were going to get to open again in 2020. I think they probably thought like, nah, we're just packing it up. We're done for the year.
They were expected to months ago, and then at least in California, but things got pushed back. I know in China, they were open up like way, way, way long ago.
Okay, so this is a scramble for these theaters to come up with something that people want to pay to come in. And also don't forget, it is still risky. You're in an enclosed space with other people. I guess the rule of thumb is you have to keep your mask on unless you're eating some popcorn or something like that.
Right.
But again, the bottom line is they got to try to do anything and everything to lure you back into the theaters. I was excited to go back and check out the theater because I love going to the movies. I'm a huge movie guy. But when I saw my only choice was like Gremlins and like I don't even remember what the other title was. Neither one of those was something that interested me. I was just like, all right, well, cool that the movie theaters are open, but I'm going to have to come back later, when something else better is playing for me. That was my mindset. So, I guess let's ask our listening audience. Are you guys rushing out to the movie theaters now that they're back open? Drop us a comment on Facebook, on YouTube. Let us know if you guys are rushing to go back out to the movies, or you're going to sit on the sidelines and just wait for like that really good production to come back and be exclusively in the theaters first. Because now, as Geno pointed out on an episode several weeks ago, they got this kind of deal in place now where they'll let it in the theaters for only a couple weeks and then it goes on VOD.
Oh, right.
Right. So maybe you're waiting for that big release to come out before you rush to go check that out.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And they're even doing deals with like if you're a member of a movie theater and their special customer service package or like card or VIP memberships. So I got hit up recently with AMC about that, and they gave me like $5 extra, free popcorn because it passed my birthday, and all this other stuff. So I really want to take advantage of it before the offer ends.
That's kind of cool though. I'm glad to see that they're doing all those things, and what a fascinating time to be a marketer for the big movie chains,
Absolutely.
For AMC, for Regal, for all these guys. If you're working in the marketing teams of those firms, those companies, I tip my hat to you because you have a big challenge, on tap. What else do we got? I see here a note on something that I'm personally super excited about, which is Spider-Man 3. Yeah. What's going down with Spider-Man 3?
It's been all over YouTube and everywhere else in the comic book realm on the internet. And the shooting for number 3 has begun. And a lot of stuff's going on with this. Of course, Tom Holland's back. But, they always think the big thing is like, well, Tom Holland or Peter Parker has to always have some kind of mentor when like the other Spider-Man films, he never had this mentor. But now the thing is the rumor is that Doctor Strange is going to be appearing because there's going to be some kind of crossover with Doctor Strange's movie in the Multiverse of Madness. We also got that rumor it's going to be the live action into the Spider-Verse. So there's rumors that Tobey Maguire could be or could not be coming back. People don't know 100%. And Andrew Garfield or Field, how you say his name, he's reportedly coming back. And then Jamie Foxx, who played Electro in The Amazing Spider-Man 2,
I like that,
is set to make an appearance in redoing his role of Electro.
Okay.
Not redoing, I'm sorry. Doing his role of Electro, but they're saying that he might look a little different. So that's going to be interesting. And it's saying that like he can cross over from the Amazing Spider-Man universe into this Spider-Verse. Plus, they're going to be trying to add more villains because Sony, that is, still wants to create this whole Sinister Six film, which I think would be awesome to see. And, which is basically like more villains. There's like 6 villains, and it could be all different ones, but in this case, I think it would be like Electro, the Michael Keaton's character played the Hawk guy.
Yes.
The Falcon. No, the Fair. Totally just forgot the name.
I think it is the Falcon.
No, it's not the Falcon, but
Bird. Something. I know what you're getting at.
Wow, I can't believe I forgot that
all
right
right.
now.
Yeah,
it's gonna look stupid.
I know.
Then
we'll get chewed out later by people.
We will. And the Scorpion, Venom might even cross over, and Kraven the Hunter, because they always want to make a Kraven the Hunter movie, and it could be Dr. Octagon or Octopus. There's like so many different variations of how they can play this out.
So they don't know who in other words, what I'm hearing from you is it has not yet been determined if there's going to be a single enemy that he's going to go up against in this film. It could be
the Rhino, could be
could
you remember that?
Could be several. Could be
several.
Okay, but what's key is that Tom Holland is reprising his role.
Yes. And
who I think is he's in my eyes, he's the best Spider-Man.
That's what I think too. I also want to add that there is plans, if not already in production, to make a sequel for the animated Into the Spider-Verse.
Oh, wow.
Which some consider one of the top 2 Spider-Man movies ever.
There was a lot of buzz and excitement around that film.
It got an Academy Award.
Yeah, it did. All right, and then finally, just wrapping things up in the A block here, a little bit of video gaming news. This is like a little bit of a news segment we're going to sprinkle into the show here, because the world of video games goes really hand in hand with entertainment and pop culture in general. They're kind of all interwoven, connected. As many of you guys know who might be listening to this, I have a channel on Twitch. It's twitch.tv/MJOSnaps. And I do live stream Monday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, 8 to 10 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on your dial. And so on my live stream, I will usually open it up with some chatting, just with whoever's on my channel tuning in. And then I'll get into a video game, and I'll play that game for a little while, just kind of interacting with people, having a good time. And so the big news coming out of the video game world is going to be the new Call of Duty Cold War. It's called Cold War. It's going to be the next edition of the Call of Duty franchise. This thing has just tremendous buzz behind it because there's so many millions of players of Call of Duty in general, all the different years and seasons of the game that you can still get into and play today. It's really fun. It's a really fun community, I'll say. I've met a lot of interesting people from around the world as I've been playing it. And, you all have that same kind of like interest and same kind of camaraderie around the game and the gameplay. Whenever there's a bug, people will like capture the bug and they'll like tweet it out. They'll make a big deal about it. It's kind of like funny, actually. It's kind of, if they catch like an Easter egg in the game or a glitch. So there you just get like, it's really cool little community. And anyways, this game drops on November 13th and it's going to be a big deal.
Now, is that Cold War that's supposed to be taking place during the Cold War?
Yeah. Like the theme, they've been running some commercials on television. The theme of it is like Ronald Reagan's the president. he's kind of like in this, boardroom or presumably somewhere in the White House, and he's kind of like talking to some guys about, what's this code that we've cracked that can help us like put an end to the Cold War. And it's like this guy has like this Soviet Union briefcase, and he's like decoding something. And so anyways, it just shows the gameplay as it's a lot of interesting like night scenes. And so the whole thing with these games is the map of where you play, which is like the environment that you play, and you try to hunt down other players. That's what really makes the game interesting and fun. So the more unique the map is, with different places where you can hide out, buildings you can like go in and like sniper other players from and stuff like that. That's what people really love. This game, Cold War, is supposedly going to have a lot of that. So there's a lot of buzz. Looking forward to it. And that's just a quick little blurb on the video game world.
I still remember the commercial, just real quick, of it was a long time ago for Call of Duty. And at the end of the commercial, there's a bunch of these players that got all killed. And who did they get killed by? Professional soldiers who were like amateurs.
Right.
That's what they said at the end of the commercial. Amateurs.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. I mean, this online gaming world, it just tracks all walks of life. It's kind of, like I said, it kind of goes hand in hand, this Twitch universe with pop culture, with entertainment, with film, movies. It's something that's near and dear to our hearts here at the AdHero Podcast. We just like to bring that to the show. But let's get into the meat and potatoes of the episode, as I always like to say. Let's get into the main topic at hand, how to break up with a client, or maybe possibly more specifically, how to know when to break up with a client. Because I think there's two parts there that's really critical if you work in sales. There's the feeling that it's time to break up, and then there's the actual act of breaking up. Yeah. And what I'm going to put out there is some of the things that we're going to be sharing today on today's episode might sound very familiar if you've ever broken up with a significant other. And the reason why I say that is because so often in life, relationships, whether they're personal or professional, there's a lot of crossover. There's a lot of similarities in a professional relationship as there is with a personal one. And breaking up with a professional relationship can arguably hurt just as much as breaking up with a personal relationship, as funny as that may sound. Now, you might meet some people out there, and Geno, I'm going to ask you this question. If you've ever met someone who just, they have like a stone wall kind of like attitude, and they can just really be stone cold, ice cold when it comes to work stuff, and absolutely nothing can get through to them. But have you met anyone like that? Yeah.
Actually, you know what? It's funny. I have, but the ones that I remember, the sale went through.
Okay.
And it was just basically like, yes. Like, I'm like, okay, is this person getting mad at me? I don't know. And they just keep answering yes, or give me the card. They give me their card.
Right.
And that's very weird. And
yeah.
I almost feel bad. I'm like, okay, like, I guess, like, did I do something wrong? No, it's just how I am.
That's funny. That is too funny. Well, usually relationships in sales, or I should say a sale, begins with a relationship, right? And so when the relationship is high vibes and high energy, then transactions can get done, right? Whereas when it is low energy, or as you say, very cold, very stale, that's typically, you don't see progress take place like that. And so I'll speak for myself, here at AdSemble, which is the parent company of the AdHero Podcast, we help clients with digital out-of-home advertising, digital billboard advertising, programmatic out-of-home advertising, do all those great things. And every single one of those relationships I take really to heart. When I'm interacting with a client, I get really excited to meet with a client. I know you too. You do as well, Geno. Mm-hmm. And so, anyways, I think there's three key things to know about in this process of knowing when to break up with a client and how to do it. And in order to figure that out, the three key things are: one, every relationship needs to be valued from both sides. All right, and we're gonna little by little just kind of poke our heads in each one of these topics right here. Every relationship needs to be valued from both sides. There are a million fish in the sea. That's point number 2. There's a million fish in the sea. And number 3, no amount of money is worth your personal health. All right? So those are 3 key things to be on alert for, to be watching out for. Those are some signs that it may be time to break up with a client, and then we're going to give you some pointers about how to do that, right? So let me just peel back each one of those, and then I'm going to let Geno come in and explain how you go ahead and break up with a client, right?
Oh, well, thank you.
You're welcome. So every relationship needs to be valued from both sides, right? You have a valuable service that you are offering somebody, okay? They may be coming to you in need of that service, but you are the one providing that service. And so it's a very copacetic relationship because they want the service, you have the service to provide. It helps your business grow if you make a sale and get a customer, hopefully for life. And so that's a good thing right out of the gate, right? But where it can immediately take a turn for the worse is if the person coming to you for the service starts kind of bossing you around or having these exuberant demands on your time and energy because they feel like, hey, I'm paying you for I'm paying for this, so you have to bend over backwards for me.
Or threats.
And you might see this a lot maybe in really high tense situations. Like a perfect example might be if you hired a lawyer to settle a divorce or settle something in a personal matter, and that lawyer you don't feel is maybe doing the best job or getting you the most results that you think they could be getting, you might come to that table and be like, hey, I'm paying you to get me out of this jam, this personal jam or this divorce situation. I'm really pissed off that you're not getting me as good of a deal as I think I should get, right? Now, if you're the lawyer in that situation, where do you draw the line and say, hey, listen, I am doing the best job I can. If you don't like it, take a hike, that type of thing, right? So the point being is every relationship needs to be valued from both sides. Point number 2 there are a million fish in the sea, right? And Geno, let me just ask you, what do you infer that means? There's a million fish in the sea.
What that means is you have to keep your, if I can quote Grant Cardone, you have to keep your funnel full. And there is someone out there that will want your product, that will want to hear what you have to say.
In a respectful way.
In a respectful way. That's true. So you got to keep your funnel full. You got to keep talking to people. It's really about the mindset.
In other words, don't let that one irate customer make you feel like they're the only person out there who can buy what you have to sell. Would you say that's a true statement?
Because if they're coming back at you like, well, I can just go somewhere else with the same services, and you should just return if it's going to be like that hostile, then you should probably return it back and be like, well, you could, and I'll just find someone else who wants to talk to me or my services.
That's right. And finally, there's no amount of money that's worth your personal health. So again, going back to that situation about the lawyer, something like that. I mean, you got someone coming at you because they've paid you, several $100,000s to negotiate something or settle something, and they're coming at you morning, day, night with aggressive text messages and just a lot of hate and anger and vengeance because of their situation that they are in. If you go home at the end of the night feeling distressed, feeling emotionally drained, feeling sad and depressed that maybe I'm not doing as good a job as I could. This person's telling me I suck. If that's causing you to have health issues, you got to see that as a major sign that you got to get yourself out of that situation, because we are all here on planet Earth for only such a short amount of time. I just saw yesterday the tragic passing of Alex Trebek. And I love watching Alex Trebek on Jeopardy and everything else. Died of, I think it was pancreatic cancer, if I'm not mistaken.
That was it.
I mean, look at that, right? I mean, no amount of money is worth you putting health concerns on yourself where that's going to pull you down and wear you down, right? Yep. Okay, so those are 3 key things that you have to be watching out for at all times. And if any one of those things happens, then you want to sit down and have the talk, okay? So, Geno, I had a personal situation where a client was really, really being aggressive at me and not valuing my time. The teeter-tot was unbalanced, so to speak, and I'm feeling heartache from it, and I'm not sleeping well as a result of it. And I'm very confident that there's other fish in the sea that will respect me and will respect our product and respect our time, not ghost us on calls or just be assholes in general, right? So now I'm ready to break up with this client. What are some pointers? What should I do? Well,
according to a couple sources, Forbes and Entrepreneur.com, some things you would want to do is avoid saying the word you. You basically want to keep it very high level, very professional. It's not we, like, no, it's us, or it is we and us, not you. You don't want to because here's the other thing too, is that you don't want to discredit that person too bad, because you know what, you just might be working with that person again in the future. And in fact, that's kind of happened to me before a very long time ago. You want to have empathy. You want to become out the better man or woman.
Okay.
Overall.
All right.
You might see them, like I said before, you might see them in the future. So you can actually make recommendations or referrals. There's a funny little story I have about that with someone else in sales. And I don't know if we have time. We probably don't. But anyway, it was just, if you recommend somebody, sometimes those recommendations can actually help you with the sale and retain the sale, especially if you're in law. I can explain it in the comments below on YouTube. And you want to make sure that you have responsibility and be transparent about it, because if you're going to be the one who breaks up, have the confidence to do it. Don't be wishy-washy about it. And don't let it drag out. Finally, this is the last thing. Do it immediately, because if you don't do it immediately, according to these sources, it's going to weigh more on your health in your mind, and you don't want that. You got to continue to move forward in your sales.
Right. So, in other words, you're watching out for these 3 signs, and when you're ready to make that decision to break up with this client and just go somewhere else with somebody else who's going to respect you and love you and appreciate you more, don't drag it out. Sit down, have the talk. Basically, if I could loose paraphrase, it may sound something like this. Listen, Mr. Client X, we've had a great relationship together. We have done a lot of great things together. We've had a lot of fun working with you. There's obviously been a lot of progress. There's been a lot of success. But as of late, I kind of feel that this relationship between us, I'm feeling like I'm not being, and we are not being as valued, meaning myself and the company. We are not being as valued for the services that we are providing you. And so we have, thankfully, many other clients that we are working with right now. And as a result of that, we are actually going to make the decision to part ways with working with you.
Am I being fired right now? No.
You're
that
fired.
was good.
You're fired. So, you again, you want to use the we. You want to say this and this.
Right.
We want to be empathetic. If something changes down the road where, we can come back into contact and working with you again, we're fine to do that. But as of right now, we really need to put a focus on clients who we feel are appreciative of what we bring to the table for them.
That's right.
All right. And no amount of money is going to change that. It's just in our culture about who we are.
Let us know what you think with the comments below. Let us know your thoughts. Matthew.
Yeah. My final thoughts are basically just watch out for those situations where you're not being appreciated. That's a big deal. I mean, listen, nobody is ever going to tell you. The reason why we wanted to make this particular episode is because it's very rare that a company breaks up with a client. All right? Usually the client breaks up with the company. But there are some instances where people are just so rude and so aggressive that you have to do the breaking up yourself. And so we hope these 3 pointers made sense. Drop us a line if you want any other additional feedback on it, but definitely break up with someone who's not treating you and taking good care of you.
Follow us online at social media at @adsymbol. YouTube, on your YouTube page, give us a like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to be notified of all AdHero shows and various other content related to the marketing. And don't forget to leave a comment and question below and let us know your thoughts. For inquiries and more information about outdoor advertising, visit adsymbol.com. Find the AdHero Podcast on all major platforms. Thank you for tuning into the AdHero Podcast every Friday. My name is Geno Giovanni.
And I'm Matthew Olivieri.
Signing out.
We out.
Want to advertise big and build massive brand authority at the same time? It's easier than you think. Open Display by AdSymble lets you advertise on digital billboards nationwide. Just go to opendisplay.com for a free account to get started.